Hello. Hi. Can you hear me? Raise your hand if you can. Can you hear me, Carla? Yes, Janet. Great. Wonderful. And it is, yeah. Brian, to answer your question, we start right now. And Pedro, please start to record it. So good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. And for Mazumi, very, very late good evening. Thank you very much for the participation. Welcome to the cCR updating briefing webinar. First of all, I would like to thank all of you spending this precious 1.5 hour to join us here. I know you all have a quite full agenda. Carla and I also carefully planned and prepared today's meeting. We hope at the end of today's training, you will feel this 1.5 hour well spent. And today's webinar is consisting three components. I will start by introducing the new functions and features of the cCR website. I will present you the new improvement and cool features. I will also frankly share you the elements that are still under developing, the causes of delay, and the short-term deliverables. Then I will hand the floor to my colleague Carla as the main responsible person for reports quality control. She will introduce the procedure and process to conduct the report review, upload, and display the received information. She will guide you through a few common mistakes with suggested solutions. Finally, we will invite you to an open discussion with guided points. We would like to hear from you how we can further improve to support you and your city. So let's start with the website, the new website. In the first section, I will guide you through the home page, the entity page with the search function, the city profile page, and the user login page. Let's start with the home page. And it takes for a while. I will simply go here. The new website is still accessible by the old address, carbon.org, and city do not need to remember any new address. On the home page, a real-time updated statistic dashboard is located on the most obvious place. Here you can find the latest accounting on the number of registered city, the number of reported actions, the reported targets, and the total contribution to the global mitigation goal. We are trying to explore other powerful indicators too, such as connection to NDCs, commitment achievement rate, etc. So if you are working on that, if you have any cool indicators or even matured methodology, please let us know. I know that the USAO it's exploring something comparing the local commitment to the national commitment. If you have that, we are happy to highlight it also on this dashboard. And going down, after the definition of carbon climate registry, you'll find a global map containing all the reporting entities. The map starts at a global scale with the counting of entities in a certain region. By clicking on the numbers or click here for zoom in, I would do it by clicking them. The user will be directed to individual reporting entities on this map. The color of the entities demonstrate its property, a blue dot for a subnational government, naming the state or region, and a yellow dot for a local government, which means a city or town. And by clicking on those entities, you will find the entity that you represented, and by clicking on here or this little arrow, you will be directed to the entity's profile page. I don't know, but maybe because I just had a meeting with the web designer, maybe they are busy implementing something, but in this morning's webinar it worked. Let me try with another city with my luck here. Let's see this one. And to avoid wasting of your time, just imagine it works now. It really worked just a few minutes ago. And a city will be directed to their city profile page, and the city profile page we will go through later in depth. And hopefully by then this page is fixed. Let's see. if it works now. And by keep scrolling down, we will see, responding to your suggestion, the new website featuring more on the reporting entities, like here, the highlighted entities. What do they say? We quote from the mayors, and how did they do, and where do they come from? Here we highlight the initiative that is supporting. And of course, now we do not have a rule. Yeah, for some city, the city profile page works. We do not have a rule for selecting city to be displayed on the home page yet. So we simply choose the highlighted city that we know by heart, that have good report, and also have a good global spread that representing cities from global south and north. And if you have any rule, if you know any cCR reporting entities that have any good actions or inventory that they want to celebrate, we are happy to display them here as well. That's a nutshell for the home page. We come into the next section, is the reporting entity page. Here I would like to proudly present to you the advanced search function. This page also starts with the global map containing all the reporting entities. And under the map, in some Explorer, you can see the map is beside the searching function. We are still figuring it out how to make sure the display look the same on all type of browsers. But for now, it looks fine on Chrome and Windows Explorer. Sometimes it looks weird on the Firefox, depending on the apps it's installed. We are busy figuring out how to solve that. And in here, you can search a city by its name, and you do not even need to type in the full correct name. We accept an ambiguity. For example, instead of Vancouver, I simply type in Vancouver here and click search. And the server will find the matching ones for me. Here we got 4 results. And the response is given with the full English name, the country, and a little summary of the city's report. And we also accept H cases of English letters, which means English letter with 2 dots above, or the Spanish letters and so on. For example, if you type MOVE, you will find the result. However, currently we do not support non-Latin letters, which means if you try to search a city with Chinese, Japanese, Korean, Arabic letters, it wouldn't work. So please still bear with us in this. And explain to your city, since it's an international website, we do not accept, allow them to do the searching function yet. And this is one way you can search city by their names. You can also select cities by narrow down the criteria here by clicking on this filter button. By clicking on this filter button, you can narrow down the selection criteria by the country, the region, number of action, number of population, and the amount of GDP. By the way, here the slider, you can, to make your selection criteria precise, you can simply click on the slider and then use the direction key on your keyboard. Every click representing one number. So if we want to be specific, I want to find all the African cities that report at least one action without limitation of population or GDP, and I want them to be categorized according to the number of inventory. I simply set like that, of course. That's my result. Actually, I need to delete that, otherwise it wouldn't come out. And yeah, here's all my African city, and you can see my criteria here. It's listed by inventory from more to less. It's within the region of Africa, number of action, number of population, and GDP. And we hope this function facilitates the user city and the ROs to find out ideal cities to compare. Check. Now let's use our beloved city of Vancouver as an example to show you the city profile page. Why it doesn't display here? Maybe because they're working on something. Now it comes to the highlight of this webinar, the entity profile page, where we had a big ambition, however still cannot reach all the designed function as we are speaking now. So please accept my apology to present this section partially with the PPT, especially given the fact that my best city might be hidden now because I just had a call with the website designer. But in the PPT, I will present you how it should look like and what data it will contain. So the entity profile page can be directed directly from the official name of the reporting entity. So in the case of the city of Vancouver, let me try. So you can simply type in the carbon.org city profile and then city of Vancouver. Please be aware that the address is case sensitive, which means you have to capitalize the C and the way and the V in this case. Let's see if it works now. Yeah, it works perfect. And only with this setting requirement, which means the case sensitive, can we differentiate entities with the same English name. And the entity page is consisted with 3 segments. The report segment that contains everything, a city report, here is the summary, this logo, and then the initiative section that answers the question, where does the city come from, what is the focus of the entity, and finally the achievement section where it displays what and how did the city do. And let's start with the reporting section above here. As you can see, there are, I would zoom in so that you can have a better overview. As you can see, here are plenty of blank space. Ideally, it should look like this. It's the reporting section. It starts with a summary of the city's report. It presents basic entity information, including the logo of the local government, population, the size of area, GDP, and the most ambitious community GHG target. So only community GHG target will be displayed here, and if there are more than one community GDP target, we will display the target with the farthest target year, which usually is the most ambitious. And after reading the summary, one can zoom in into the reporting details by clicking on each button here, which we will introduce later in detail. Under the summary, you can see the entity's geographic location is displayed right next to the head of government's information. That includes his or her photo, a quote, the climate-related quote, or and his full English name, the entity where it comes from, or the role it plays for ICLEI, if any. And if any of the above mentioned information is not submitted, for example, the logo, the picture, we will simply leave it blank. And if none of the mayor-related information is submitted, we will simply enlarge the global map to occupy this space. So please help us to communicate with the city to try to fill in information in this section, which they will have better representation of their city and please try to always update the mayor's information. And for now on, you can see this place is still empty. I simply ask the web designer to leave it as so for my presentation. I think it leaves a better impression to you and to promote you to help me fulfilling the missing information here. And now let's zoom in to the target city report. By clicking on the target button, you will see all the target reported by the entity. They are categorized according to the reporting sheet, the GHG emissions reduction target, renewable energy target, energy efficiency target, other mitigation target, and adaptation target. The GHG reduction target is displayed with the two-liner summary, including the boundary, the value, the target year, the type, the base year, and the sectors in which the activity will be achieved, and accompanied with a graph that explains the target, in which you can find the base year's emission and the assumption of the target year's emission according to the target value reported. As you can see here, City of Vancouver did not report sectors for this specific target, therefore we have to display a meaningless sentence. One of the topic today is to discuss with you, should we leave it like that, or we simply hide this sentence if no data is reported. We will discuss that later in the third section. For renewable energy target, a three-liner will be displayed, including the type of renewable energy, the value, the target year, the base year information, and again, the sectors in which it will be achieved. The same structure for the energy efficiency target. Only the summary will be displayed for mitigation and adaptation, for other mitigation and adaptation resilience target, simply because we do not have one structure to follow. There's no standard quantitative information we can display here. And now let's go to the action. Action plans, mitigation actions, and adaptation actions are behind the action button. Here you can see all the actions and action plans are listed according to the categorization. By clicking on each of them, there's more information will be presented that include a photo of this action. When a photo is not submitted, we will use a default photo here, a link to the supporting document or to the action's own page. In this case, the link does not work, but at least this morning I used this one, that the link works. And there will be a link to this actions page. You will find the, as you can see, the link to the city's own action page. And it also includes the action starting year, type, status, a summary, and sectors it covers. And so please try to help us to communicate with the city. Always provide at least those displayable information and update its status once an action is completed. And in the end, let's go to the performance page. Currently, we only display the GHG emission inventory of community and of the local government operation. We are also eager to showcase cities' performance in energy, resilience, and mobility. Of course, it relies on cities' quality report and your suggestion on how and what we should present. So we will discuss that in the third section today, or whenever you have an opinion or a good example, just always feel free to write us an email. So in this section, the GHG emission inventory are recorded with two-liner summary, highlighting, I think here is a better example, highlighting the number of inventory reported, its boundary, the first inventory year, the last inventory year, and the major emission sources identified. And then you can see on the left-hand side is a line chart displaying the trend of emission. On the right-hand side is a pie chart representing the emission sources of the latest year's inventory. You may identify that there is an inconsistency between here. It says 18 inventory, but here only displays 5. There are two causes. One is that many cities report more than one inventory in one inventory year, which simply means they may have 5 times 2015. And in some cases, even have different inventory values. And in this case, we usually choose the inventory with the highest emission simply based on a conservative approach. And we will contact you, the ROs, and the cities soon with those findings to sort out this problem. And that's all what we can display for cities report. Let's go to the statistic content. Under the city map and the mayor's information, there is the initiative slider. Here, by clicking on the slider, one can find all the initiative a entity participate. Currently, we in response to WWF and our request, we display our City Challenge and OPCC's logo separately as 2 initiatives, and we are still updating this logo based on this latest change. That's why sometimes you can see empty space. Finally, at the achievement section, the achievement badges are located at the bottom, stressing the progress made. By now, only the Compactive Mayor is the initiative, specialize the achievement and the requirement for each achievement milestones. We are open to all initiatives to highlight good performance entities. ICLEI itself is exploring the possibility of appraising reporting entities too. So again, if you have any idea of selecting criteria, please share it with us. And lastly, but also very importantly, we also upload the user's login landing page. So by click login and type in their username and password, and they will see a slightly good-looking landing page. And we're still modifying it since the request came quite late. And okay, if it does not show, I have to show you the while we're waiting for that, on this landing page, it actually it include the city's username and the city's head of government information. So if it is missing city, it's very obvious for the city that what they need to update. And also we give the city an indicator that how many reports they have been submitted and what is waiting for reviewing and what is already uploaded and displayed, so that they do not need to end up into an endless waiting chain. And also there is a section where they can download all the previous report and update them, and they can choose their preferred language of the reporting sheet, and they can download new reporting sheet once they want to submit new report, and also in their preferred language. Okay, while we are waiting for this page, I would like to show you on the design page. And not only will the city have a login landing function, all of us, the ROs and also the administrative managers and the ward secretariat will also have your own login details. And by typing into those login details, you will be directed to a manager login landing page. Here I used Gino as an example. You will see your name and your role of ICLEI, and then you will see a reporting status summary that include the number of cities reported in your region. In Gino's case, of course, he sees all the regions. You will see the number of entity growth and of course, in your region, you will be able to see which city reported and how many of them are eClaim members, and you can download the city list as a CSV file, and you can see the number of population represented, number of climate target, and download the target, and number of actions, and download the action, and your region's contribution to the global mitigation goal, and download all the commitment. You will also have a advanced searching function where you can type in the city name or simply specify the selection criteria. The list goes very long. I would not go into detail of that, and which will allow you to make extractions according to city info, and extraction that containing commitment, inventory, and action. You can download them in a CSV file. And we will also allow you to see which stage a city report is on, which Carla will introduce you later. Did we receive the report? Is the report sent you back for improving? Did we send it to the technical team to upload it? Is it properly displayed that you can inform the city to check? You can all see the status here. And finally, you can check each individual city's login detail. Then you can log in as the city to download the reporting sheet for them, or simply click the register each initiative for them. And then you can log in and change password, and change contact email, change the contact person's information for the city. And then of course you can log out from that. Let me see. Good. The city's login page is on. We still use the city's Vancouver as example, as I indicated. Here you can register for certain initiatives. You will see the reporting sheet status. You can download the report you have submitted before in reporting sheets of a preferred language when you want to update the report, or you can simply download new reporting sheet in a preferred language. That's all from me. I hope you're still with us. As you can see now, we display a lot more information on the page, and in order to have a good performance, a good representation of the city, we also have a higher requirement for the city's report. Now I will hand the floor to my colleague Carla, who will introduce you the process, how we review the data, how we communicate back to you, and then what follow-up action we expected in order to have a high-quality report displayed here. Now, Carla, I will make you the presenter. Yes.
Thank you, Chang, for your presentation, and hello to everyone, and thanks again for your attendance. As Chang mentioned, I'm going to show you what is the report review that we do along with you. So first, we are going to start with just the process as a whole. We start, as you know, by receiving, and for that there are two channels, which are the offline reporting sheets, which we receive through carbon@eclay.org, the Carbon emails account, from the regional offices or from the cities themselves. And then we have the APIs, that means CDP, ClearPath, or any others. Okay, then we receive those, and after this, the data goes to a process that we call the validating. At the moment, as you know, this is done mainly for the Compact of Mayors. cCR is doing that, but we envision, as Chang mentioned, that this would be done with other thematics as well. For example, in resilience, in mobility, and any others that we will envision this in the we will put this more, and we are open to your suggestions in this. So as a part of the validating process, we conduct a completeness and quality check, and that is what we will mainly cover today. and I will come to this in a minute after I finish with this process here. So from this validating process and this completeness and quality check, cities and regional offices will get a report. And with this report, we hope that the data improves in quality and in completeness. And only after this can we upload the report. And of course, after we upload it, we need to make sure that it is displayed. So let's go now and look into more detail into the validating process. Okay, so for this, and with the reviews that we've already conducted previously, we have developed a process for quality and completeness check. And this is going to be done now with this tool that I'm going to show you in a bit. So that you know what are all the things that we are looking at when we are reviewing the data in order to achieve this quality and completeness in the database as a whole. So this is the quality checking tool, and it's composed of this. So you can see the sections that will be reviewed, the items that need to be reviewed, then the results after your ponderation, and then the issues and the comments. So these issues will be general for the most part, and then the comment will be specific to the problem that is identified in the city's report. The qualifications that this report can have is this. So that means there's okay, pending, missing, inconsistent, not relevant, and not reporting. Okay, and then I will show you after this whole process, you're going to see what the report will look like. So I'm going to show you some of the things that we are going to look at each of the sections, but some of them, such as, for example, the mandatory fields, will be repetitive. So I'm just going to walk you through in how it affects in each specific section of the reporting sheet. As you know, probably, we have the core sheet and we have the actions sheet. So now let's go first to the whole core sheet with its 9 tabs, and let's look at each of the information that we will be looking there. So first, of course, we are going to be looking at all the mandatory fields, and just for context purposes now I'm going to just name them. So what are the mandatory fields? It's the official name of the reporting entity, name of reporting entity in English, coordinates, then from the contact person we need the name, official title, division, department, complete address, complete email address, phone number. The same for the head of government, official title, name, complete address, and email address. So that those are all the mandatory fields that if we don't see that the city or the regional office has reported, then we will make an observation. We understand that sometimes the data is not available, but we will still make the observation. Okay, so other things that we are going to be looking at, general info consistency. For example, we need to be attentive that there isn't where it's there are the information is put in the right place. So for example, there isn't a name of a person where it should be the name of a city. We have seen such cases. So please, if you see these, also help us with these little but very important inconsistencies, because these will be reflected in the website in the way that Chang showed to you earlier. Then accurate but also precise coordinates. That means with at least 3 decimals. Otherwise, the cities can be misplaced, and as we are dealing with cities, towns, and regions, so this is only bad for the city for its location in the map. Then also we are going to be looking at the head of the government term. So if this is finishing soon, we are going to make a note so that we have information that is up to date. Then the required files, cities need to report the names, and also they need to attach this. So those are the things that we are going to be looking in the account information section, in the account information tab. So please help us with this. Then if we go to the profile, again, all the mandatory fields. Here they are the general description of the entity, the total area, main geographic type, population, average annual population change rate, main economic sector, GDP, head of government, start and end of current term, and in planning and commitment, status of plan in mitigation and adaptation, and general sustainability goal of the local government. So those are all the mandatory fields that we ask the cities to report. And then we will also be looking at consistency between total area, population, and GDP. So if you see a number which is obviously wrong here, please take this into consideration. Again, another thing that we will be looking is the consistency between GDP and government budget. And also if the city is reporting that they have an action plan, we are going to go to the action plan section and look that this action plan is reported there as well, and also that the plan has its respective supporting document. So that is regarding the profile section. Now let's go to targets and commitments. This applies for greenhouse gas emissions reductions, renewable energy, and energy efficiency targets. Again, here we will of course look at all mandatory fields. These include the summary, the indication of approval by council or mayor and its evidence, the type of target, the boundary, the unit, the value, the baseline, and the year of adoption. Okay, here we are also going to look at the summary, and we are going to see that the summary is consistent with everything else that is reported in the target. So for example, with the boundary, whether this is a government or a community target, with the type of target, if the target is stating one thing but then is selecting a type of target that is not consistent with that, again with the value and with the units as well. So sometimes there is a summary which is talking about a target in megawatt hours, but then they are actually the reported, they are wanting to report a target of installed capacity. So then we are going to ask the city what they actually meant. Then we are going to see the type of target and unit consistency, again relevant, like I mentioned, to the summary. So as you know, there are the targets, they have some of them, they have specific units. For example, for an intensity target, then you need to choose tons of CO2 or tons of CO2 per unit of energy, for example, or per capita. But this unit is only valid for the intensity target. So if this unit is selected for another kind of target, this will be an inconsistency, and then we are going to make an observation to that report. The baseline, which is very important in the relevant targets. The sectors, these can be ticked by the city or by the regional office, so we are going to look that the city is choosing where this target is being implemented, and also the relationship to other levels of government. And if the target is already happening, we are going to ask the city if the target has been met. So if the year of target is the present. No? Then the required files, again as before, the names and attachments need to be there. Now something special for all the mitigation targets and the adaptation and resilience targets. As before, all mandatory target or mandatory fields, excuse me, the summary, and also in these kind of targets, there we ask for the means of measuring. So the city needs to state concretely how they are going to measure the achievement of the target. And then the rest applies like the previous target, like I mentioned, relationship to other levels of government and year of target relevant to current year. Okay, now let's go to action plans. The mandatory fields here are name, type, and year adopted by council, and the summary. The summary needs to be, again, consistent with everything else that is reported in the action plan. And then if it's a mitigation plan, we ask the city to give greenhouse gas emissions reduction estimates, also the methods which are chosen, and the baseline. And then if it's adaptation, the city needs to state how they are going to achieve their impact in adaptation, also indicate whether there is a vulnerability assessment, whether this is a separate document or it's attached, if they have the C40 taxonomy. They need to detail this kind of details. Yeah. The sectors, again, the sectors need to be chosen and accordingly with the type of action plan that, that was chosen. And the required files, also names and attachments. If these are available in English, is preferable. We will maybe cover this later, right? Okay, so that is in regards to the action plans. Now let's go to the GPC. Here, the mandatory fields, inventory year, reporting period, indication that the geographic boundaries meet the administrative boundaries or not, area covered by the inventory, population, GDP of the inventory, tool or calculator used to generate the inventory, indication of verification by a third party or not. So here we are going to be looking also that the inventory year is not the same as the reporting year, and that the GDP and the population are consistent with what was reported in the profile section. And the summary, as I'm sure you are familiar with the GPC reporting form, there is a summary after the city provides the emissions, the tons of emissions, and then we are going to be looking that the totals and for sectors are there for the basic plus. So after this, then we can pass the GPC to the next person in charge, which is in this case is Cesar. So this is just for this specific. And the supporting documents for the GPC, which are the emission factors, the global warming potential, and the activity data, so that they are all there. Now, looking at energy performance, and the mandatory field, reporting year, indication of geographic boundaries in relation to administrative boundaries, again, area covered by the inventory and population, and also final energy consumption. Here, we need also to check that the total energy consumption is consistent with targets when this is applicable. So, for example, in the energy efficiency targets, cities can also report that, so we can compare there and see that this is consistent. And again, here are the files with names and attachments. In regards to the government inventory, the mandatory fields, reporting year, boundaries, number of government staff, government budget, total energy consumption of local government operations. In the inventory, energy-related emissions to government building, government facilities, emissions from transport sector, government-operated industrial process and product use, IPPU, government activities in agriculture, forestry, and other land use, effluent from waste and water treatment. And also indication if the inventory includes data from lower levels of government within its jurisdiction, or if it's reported to a higher level of government. Indication of confidentiality, indication if analysis of scope 3 emissions was done or not, indication if the inventory was verified or not, and also indication of the protocol that was used. We are also going to see that the inventory year is not the same as the reporting year, and that the totals and the subsectors are not conflicting. The notation is important that they are not misused. For example, that they are not reporting only non-estimated, of course, that inventory. Also, the required files with the names and attachment, like in all the previous cases as well. Finally, let's go to our last tabs. Oh, no, we have one more, the actions tab. In the adaptation and resilience data, we have all the mandatory fields, and that is indication if risk or vulnerability assessment has been undertaken. In adaptation planning, indication if the city has initiated efforts in adaptation, identification of stakeholders, if this has been done or not, risk or vulnerability study, if they have been, if this has been done or not, also goals, development of adaptation actions, progress measurement plan, update climate adaptation plan, all of this has been done. Adaptation actions, if they have been identified, the process of identification, methods for selection of actions or prioritization, and description of the action assessment. And then for the mobility data, the only mandatory fields are the modal splits of the city. So we are going to look here that the modal split is consistent, so that the sum, of course, not more than 100%. And in the actions, we are going to look at all the mandatory fields. And also we are going to see that the summary is consistent with all that is reported, again, like I mentioned. We are going to see that the status of the action and the approval year is consistent. That means that, for example, if the action is in a status in approval, for a long time ago, we are going to ask the city what happened. Also that the budget is consistent with the action. The co-benefits are consistent with the kind of action, but also that they are expressed in the summary. The energy savings and job creation is consistent, and also the type of action is consistent, how it is categorized, mitigation or adaptation, or mitigation with a secondary focus on in adaptation, or vice versa. Also that the summary is containing what the action is intending to do, how it intends to achieve it, concisely and concrete. And also we want that the action has a clear title that reflects, again, what the action is about. Also, if there has been stakeholder, what is the stakeholder process that has been in place? If there was a consultation, if there was a consultative press, there is a place in the reporting sheet to report that. And again, the required files, if possible, in English, so with names and attachments. So that is in regards to the action. And after we review each of the section, then we will generate this report for the cities or for the regional offices. They will only contain what is missing or what is inconsistent. So you can see in the second column from your left, you have what we have checked, which is everything that I just explained to you. Then the result of that, so whether this is missing or inconsistent, that will be mostly the observation for the city to correct. And then the notification will be a general one, and then something specific if needed for the city, so that they really know how to fix the problem. For example, we have here quality checking GPC. The city, please make sure that the supporting documents are submitted, activity data, emission factors, and global warming potential. So please submit the supporting document as the file name provided. And as a comment, please include the emission factors used. So that's what the city is not including. And then we will send this report and hope to have the reporting, the offline reporting sheet improved with these comments, and only then upload it to the database, and then will be ready to be displayed, so cities can see what they have reported. Now let's go to the frequent issues that we have identified, and that also I'm sure you are familiar with. So in general, it's the modification of the offline reporting sheets. For example, for the action reporting, many cities copy and paste the tab and report many actions in one file. This is not okay for us, because this gives us more work for the technical for the technical department. So we ask that the cities and the regional offices copy and paste the file and submit one action, one file per action. The supporting documents many times are only named but not sent, for example, or not named at all and not sent also. Also the pictures attached. Now we are asking the cities to include the picture of the head of the government, city logo, and an action, and for the action. If we look at the account info and profile, we see many times general information incomplete or mistaken information, as I told you earlier, the name of a person where it should be the name of a city, for example. Inaccurate or not precise enough coordinates. This only causes problems for the city because it misplaces the city and then they cannot find themselves in the map. Inconsistent GDP. Sometimes it seems the cities confuse the GDP with the GDP per capita. So this is something just to be aware that this GDP that we have that is not per capita. In the targets and commitments, the units, many times we receive targets with 2 types of units, or many times they don't have the baseline. Also, a lack of definition of the means of measuring in the case where this applies. And then in the action plans, we have sometimes confusion between actions and action plans, and we are developing also how we are going to categorize the actions and what are the guidelines for this, so we will tell you more and more about this. In the actions, incorrect categorization, and this is what I said, so the type of actions, the sectors. And then in inventories, notation keys misuse, so a city reporting, for example, non-estimated so not accordingly to the GPC, for example, where it's not allowed, or non-CO2 gases conversion to CO2 equivalents, and then again incomplete supporting documents. So this is all from my side. If you have any questions, please, I'll give the floor again to Chad. Thanks a lot for your attention.
Can you make me the presenter? Sorry. Okay, great. Thank you, Carla. And I would display my screen again with this one. Great. As you can see, we really try to make better use of city data. In doing so, we also need to raise the quality of the report itself. And currently, what the WS is busy doing is that we are developing tutorial materials that compiling explanation for every cell and the common asked question. We think we can launch them this week, and we are still improving the city login page to make it just design-wise look better and containing more information. This morning, during this morning's webinar, Korean office raised the question that they would like to see the contact person and the registration date. We would add it soon, and we were also busy developing the manager login page. With it, you can access to the data and helping the city to download and report. Carla and I will also invest more time in reviewing all the city's report and communicate with you more frequently. But we can do all of that only with your help. So now the floor is yours, and we wish that you can maybe raise your hand. If not, I would just call on names by office to address one or more point on that sheet, or simply questions about today's presentation or other concerns in general. Okay, now the floor is open. Here we hear Amanda. I mute you. Amanda, you need to unmute yourself. And then, hello, Amanda, can I? There. Hello, Amanda, you're unmuted now. Okay, maybe she typed her question. She said she cannot unmute herself. Pedro, can you help us maybe how to unmute Amanda?
Just a second.
Yep.
Muted.
Mute by an organizer, yeah. We tried to unmute you.
Unmuted.
Okay, well.
Maybe it's
Anyone
better
else?
to type.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not working.
It doesn't work. I see now. I see I can unmute Brian. I only cannot unmute you, Amanda. See, I can unmute Brian and other people, just not you. Maybe you're muted by yourself, Amanda. Try it. Just try to click the mute button on the GoToWebinar panel that's on the left-hand side of the control panel. There is a little microphone. I can unmute everyone else but you. Well, we'll try to figure out the technical issue from Amanda, or maybe Amanda, you can type your question here. Anyone else want to express? Has Brian, are reporting entities allowed multiple government operation community inventories? Yes, absolutely. Actually, as you can see here, we do display more than one inventories, and here, yeah, inventories, and only the latest one is displayed with the rain chart for the major emission sources, and all the historical inventories are displayed with line chart to show the trend. Yes, Brian, you can also speak up if you want. Hello? He doesn't have a microphone. Okay. And reporting entity. Okay, Brian doesn't have a mic. I'm clicking, but it says on the mic that organizer is muting me. Weird. Really not melting you. Melt Amanda. Oh. I don't know how to solve this issue. Maybe Amanda, you just type your question. I'm really sorry for this. Anyone else? We have heard. Okay, sorry. Brian's question was. Click it again. I think I've addressed it. Did he submit a new one? So user then choose which inventory is submitted for GPC compliance validation. So the community inventory include both GPC compliant or inventory submitted from a simplified version. We do not differentiate it at this chart. We only, if it is historical inventory, we only present the total inventory. If it is GPC, it's the total basic. And if it is non-GPC, it's just simply the total inventory, and the latest inventory will be displayed here. So the user cannot choose which one to be displayed in this ring chart, but the latest inventory will be displayed here. Does that solve your question? Okay. Okay, great. I see Brian is happy with that. Let's go back to the presentation. Do you have any question regarding to the login page, the manager login page? Is there any function you would and features you would like to have? after you log in. Anyone want to comment on that?
We have questions.
Okay, sorry, I was really slow on that. Amanda, Amanda says, this report review process that was presented is a new process that will be implemented from now on. Yes, exactly. We are using that now on. Why we use this Excel sheet with the results is also because currently we're using the Excel sheet, and in the near future we will automate it with the database. So at least for completeness check, the database can do, and each ROs can also be included by simply using this Excel tool, especially when a supporting document is submitted in a non-English language and we need to check the supporting document against the reported content. For the APIs, can the city have a CDP ClearPath data integrated after it has reported, or this must be done prior to the download of reporting sheet? And currently, for any information that comes from the API, if it is commitment action inventory, it's recorded as a separate report. So what is submitted from the reporting sheet and what comes from API, we treat them as two individual report, two individual commitment or two individual inventories. That also is one of the reasons why some city can have 5 inventory in 2015, is simply because it comes from different sources. We try to figure it out by having them communicate with each other, but now honestly we don't have a solution for that yet. And for the entity page, like the population and size, we simply take the latest data that comes in, no matter what source it is, and but we keep record of all the previous data. So if a city indicates that, oh, in my latest report, the information I provided is wrong, we can go back to a previous one, but only with the city's allowance. And that's why we need this transparency to let cities see what they actually report, and only in this way they can see, oh, I should only use one channel or several, and well, indicating the 2 channels that I actually submit only 1 report, not 2. And Amanda's new question, how about having the CDP ClearPath info already pre-populated? Currently, the ClearPath is not the problem because ClearPath only dealing with the inventory. And so it doesn't contradict with what we have in the city profile. And usually if a city have ClearPath, it does not submit a GPC inventory anymore, so less problem there. From CDP, that's a larger discussion that need to involve the management. There are more things we need to coordinate to see how these 2 initiatives can report together. And currently we have APIs only relating to the compact required issues, and we can ask the city to download the pre-pub. So the simple way is if the CDP transfer the information first to us, and then we ask the city to download a reporting sheet pre-populated with what they've reported to CDP and then fill in the missing information. Or they can come to us, download a brand new sheet, fill in their information, get it in, and then have CDP's information coming to fill in the missing part, which you can see override with the old report, which is empty anyway. But we do not support letting CDP have pre-populated sheet with information of what city reported to us. Maybe we need to suggest to CDP, but it's something out of our control. I hope it answers your question. Let me check if there's anything else. Not yet. my question was, is there any other function you would like to see on the RO landing page? Do you need any support in the future in reviewing the reporting sheet? And what are the common problems you are facing when helping city report? Is there any specific focus I need to have when preparing tutorial material? And more importantly, what is the best way to communicate these problems? And if I host webinar more often, let's say once in a month, would that be appropriate to you, or you prefer that whenever I finish a tutorial material, I simply record it as a video and then share you the link? What is the best way to improve with you? Any comment on that? Let me see if there's more. Huh? Do we have? Yeah, of course we will update you on that. I know the manager login function. The idea is to first have the old cCR person's account being valid, and then you test with the function, and of course we will host another webinar featuring on that. But since now we are at the design phase, and it is better to send your request at this stage rather than later when we have other things in place and just fine-tuning your special request. So you don't need to answer me right now, just whenever you're working for the cities for cCR. If you have an idea, you can always send me and Carla an email. Any other questions, concerns? Okay, I will call on names. And we had Amanda, we had Brian. How about from the Africa Secretariat? Grace, do you have any? Did I unmute you already? And huh?
No, I'm all good. I'm fine, thanks. I'll just also check in with Belinda if she's got any queries, but I'm all good, thank you.
Okay, wonderful. And Masumi has left us. Of course, it's too late. Anything from the Indian office? You have been muted here.
Hello.
Hello, yeah?
Yeah, I'm all good actually. I've just joined Italy and I'm
Right, welcome.
collecting I'm collecting the data for Pune city, Maharashtra, and I'm just going through the cCR reporting. So this is all new to me. So maybe in a while I'll be getting more information about it, and then maybe I'll have some questions for you.
Okay, great.
Yeah. Thanks a lot.
Oh, you're welcome. And anyone, I'm not sure I recall this name. Ho Fei Monk? Oh,
No questions from me.
okay. Nice to have you on board, by the way. Great. I consider then it is all covered if we don't have any more raising hands. Good. So again, whenever you come up with the question, you can always contact me. And finally, as the stay with us benefit, I actually forget that on the city profile page now, put the request that we want to use this page as city's name card, which city is happy and proud to present. We have this one button print function. By clicking on this, the city will be able to print their full report with all the graphic and all the summaries, which they can simply use in their communication. So have a look. on our website and try our new reviewing tool and playing with the new website. If you have any suggestion, idea, if you found anything odd about the city report, please just write us an email, because only with you we can improve. We really eager to have a better representation of the city. Great. If no new questions, we will adjourn from here.
Thanks, everybody. Have a nice one.
Bye. We will close this.
Bye-bye. Oh, nice comment. We can also get this list of questions. No, yeah, comments, yeah, I can see. You also in my other Skype. Wait, so this is what? All right. Thank you very much. I will see what my husband wants from me. Hello. Pedro. Hola, hola.